Hello, hello. I have come again to cook some books. So I woke up today, felt pretty good. Didn't have too much to do. Oh, and the background's a little different because I'm moving, so I've packed up pretty much everything that was on the shelves. Um, when I got up this morning and I started reading, after I made my son's breakfast and made some coffee, I basically just jumped into some books. First one was Old Man Logan, which was, I believe this is volume 9. Let me look. Yeah, volume 9. Had Craven, had Bullseye. Really good book. But I really wanted to make the video today about this book, Predator vs. Wolverine. Now, when I first started collecting, it was really Predator comics and old 80s and 90s Ninja Turtle comics, the black and white ones preferably. But, so I am a fan of Predator, for sure. The Yautja has always had my curiosity, love, and respect. So, like, there was a lot of things to learn about the Yautja back a long time ago, like the 90s. And the only way you could really learn that kind of stuff was through reading or through the movies. And, that's where most people get their knowledge from. And now the movies that involve Predator have more of what the Predator's about. And there's some new stuff like Badlands that's out now, and also what was that other one? Predator Killer of Killers or something, which I haven't seen either one of those, but I'm sure they're really good. Predator books are are pretty grisly. Sometimes they have like a good character that ends up being the survivor, but a lot of times it's just a book filled with carnage and hunting and surviving. Predator vs. Wolverine was pretty intriguing to me because Wolverine is one of those characters that can take a licking and keep on ticking. You can pretty much obliterate him to ash and he will still come back. So with the way the Predator fights and basically taking down and killing his prey pretty fast, makes for an interesting part of the story because you can't kill Wolverine fast, especially young Wolverine, because we're not talking about Old Man Logan where the healing factor was definitely slowed down. We're talking about regular Wolverine. So in this book, it's all about the Benjamins, and it's Benjamin Percy that was the writer, and the artists were Ken Lashley, Greg Land, Jay Leaston, Andrea DeVito, Hayden Sherman, Kai Zama, and Gavin Girdry. Hopefully I said that right. If I didn't, I apologize. And this book featured one of the main suits, which is my favorite suit, which is the John Byrne suit, which is also considered the yellow and brown suit, or the brown and tan suit, or the burgundy and yellow suit, which was like the figure I had when I was a little kid. He was just like a little rubber figure. He just moved his arms and legs, and he didn't even have claws. You had to attach them. But I didn't have the attachments because I got them from a yard sale when I was a little kid. But still an awesome figure, awesome suit. My favorite probably to date. I've come to like the black and yellow and blue suit too, but less so than the John Byrne suit. The story has a really good feel, kind of almost Pulp Fiction-y, where it's a story within stories that are basically building up to the main storyline, which is always a fun little thing to add into any story to make it better. Starts out in the early 1900s with a very young Wolverine, and basically I think he was in Alaska, and then he gets hired on for a job, which is how he crosses paths with the Yautja. But during this little tidbit part, it's also showing the Yautja basically who has come to Alaska and is just burning through wildlife and non-wildlife just back to back. Which also shows that this Yautja is more of a rogue Yautja, because in the mythology of it, they're supposed to have honor and they're supposed to be hunters, so they only kill what is a threat. And they also don't kill people like you saw it in the Alien vs. Predator, like that the Predator saw that the guy was already dying, so he didn't even go to kill him. He ended up killing him because after he turned his back to walk away, the guy like did that thing where he lit him on fire. and so the Predator was like, okay, F this, you're done. And he took care of him right there. So this guy, this Yautja, he's definitely not held by a code of morale, even though it seems that he is in certain parts, but mostly just kind of doing what he wants and showing his dominance. It was a very cool perspective because throughout the story and all the flashbacks that lead into the main storyline, you basically get to see the evolution of both characters, and not only in just being what they are becoming, but also in the way that they fight each other. Like they're both learning lessons and lessons each time they come into contact with each other, and each time they come back, the fight is a little more advanced towards the opponent from both sides. And they tied it into the main Wolverine storyline really well, where you get to see the Predator coming up against Team X, which during that part it might have been a couple, like multiple Predators, because there was at least one chapter where there was more than one. Like he brought his friends to try to do more. There's also some tie-ins with the whole Weapon X program, which was pretty cool, but I don't want to say them because I think that would be a lot more fun, like a little treasure discovering as you're reading the book. And around the Weapon X time, the Yautja learns that the adamantium was added to Wolverine, so now he starts becoming obsessed about that adamantium skull, because like it's basically already a trophy. He doesn't even have to shine it, he just has to pull it out of him, and we get to see the adamantium skull in its full form. I won't say how, but that definitely happens. So there was one part where I will say that I felt like it was a big missed opportunity, because like in all the Predator movies or stories, you at some point see the Predator's trophy wall, which has all the skulls or whatever he's taken as trinkets as his little trophies. And I felt like it was a really big missed opportunity because there was nothing really noticeable on the trophy wall. Just a whole bunch of random skulls. Could have been some dinosaurs, aliens, and things like that. But there was no xenomorph cameo, which I always like to see that. I always think it's really cool. Or I was hoping maybe they would do something like a different mutant, like one of the more unbeatable ones or something like that. That would have been really neat to throw in there. So I felt like that was a pretty big opportunity missed. But not downplaying the book at all, because even though that was more of a missed opportunity, it doesn't take away from the nice and consistent carnage of the book. I don't want to spoil too much, but you get to see a pretty cool cameo with the X-Men and Wolverine and the Yautja, and you also get to see more strategic side of Wolverine, which I feel comes out at least once in his stories. Always. He's always kind of got a little bit up his sleeve. And you also get to see him in a more refined way, where he was training with, I don't remember the guy's name, but I believe it was like a Japanese swordsmith, and he was learning how to fight with the katana and not using and popping his claws. So kind of more reserving himself and not going berserker mode. throughout the entire story, Wolverine and the Predator just pretty much keep obliterating each other, like back and forth, over and over. And it was a lot of fun, you know. And by the end of the book, they both, at least Wolverine feels, have some kind of respect for each other, as well as hatred, but also that respect because they were each one of the hardest opponents either one of them has come across, which was a really cool way to put a spin on the story. I wanted to show some of the art from the book, but also another really cool thing about Predator is that, like, their eyesight is horrible, and that's why, like, it makes it even better because they seem to be this form that evolved that had these limitations, but they exceeded the limitations at every turn because the determination to just become better. And I can even relate with that because that's the way you got to be, you know, in life. That's how you keep feeling renewed and satisfied because you keep making those evolutionary steps with yourself, you know. Not necessarily with your tech or hunting, but just with yourself. But for the Predator, I always love it when they do like these cool little pictures like that where it's like through the Predator vision. And you get a whole Predator Wolverine, almost like tie-dye. Heat vision. I wanted to show some of the covers. They were really neat. Him in his Weapon X garb. I should have did it too. I wanted to. There was some pretty cool quotes, and there usually is by Wolverine throughout the stories. But I might start doing that too, just like kind of jotting down like the best quotes from the book, like the ones that kind of make you like ooh, you know. And that was also really cool. So here's one of the early points of the story with young Wolverine and the young Yautja. And you can really see it too. Like, they just look more underdeveloped. Like, it's a young Yautja and a young Wolverine, and they're just going at each other. And by the end of the book, they're both older, both bigger, both much smarter. Oh, that was a really cool picture. Wolverine just caught him on his chins with the claws and knocked his helmet off. Well, Wolverine didn't knock his helmet off. The Predator took it off after he was bleeding. But there's a little cool thing from T-Max. Wolverine. And they've been doing a lot of little stories with Predator, just like they did with Godzilla and Aliens, and they did it with some other characters too, but I wasn't so much into the other ones. But the ones with the Xenomorphs, I had gotten the Aliens versus Avengers. I think I read 1 through 3 or something like that, and those were pretty good books. I'm going to get the collected version at some point and finish that story, but I have not yet. There's certain stories I haven't finished that I started so long ago, like Saga. There was such a long break in that book, and they started doing it again. I think I've got the first 12 volumes of it. I'm not sure which one they're on now, but there's some Predator Mercy going down. I had a failed attempt at a takeout of Wolverine and his team. That was a pretty cool one. Oh, and on that other page, let's quick scene of the Weapon X part of the story. But I do love how they've expanded so much on the Predator universe. you know. You can do so much with Predator. And it doesn't matter, like, you can still have a good story, and he can still die at the end, and it's okay. And I'm not saying that's what the case is here, but, you know, Predator, a lot of times he ends up dying, doing this little countdown, you know, and that's always a cool part, where it's like, just because he's dying or dead doesn't mean the danger's over, you know. And then there's other predators that usually come. Oh, see here now, like that evolution part. This is that same predator later on in the story. You really get to grow with the characters and with the story. And that was a really good cover too. Yeah, Wolverine totally gets obliterated during this book. Like, look at that. He's, oh yeah, it's okay. You know, I'm just missing my shoulder. My brain's showing, but, you know, live to fight another day. And I don't want to show too much more because that'll be more spoiler. And here's some of the, I believe, the single issue variants that it came out, which I got the number 1, but I didn't collect the rest of the single issues. And that really cool one too. I really liked that one. I think I'm going to make that one the thumbnail. But very, very cool book. Also, picked this book up at the library. I'm telling you, man, that place is like a little treasure trove of things. And I've just been enjoying going there and either renting ebooks, books, graphic novels, or they also have CDs, movies. It's so cool. Yeah. I don't know why people pay so much money for Netflix and all these other things, because I cut a lot of those off. Like, you don't realize in the time when you're doing them, those all add up big time. And before you know it, you're hundreds of dollars deep, and you're barely even using the streaming platforms anymore, you know. And on that note, if you want to do a streaming platform, a really good one with a really good selection of movies and shows, and it's only $2 or $3 a month, is Howdy from Roku. That's a really good one. And even if you pay for a year for that, it's not breaking the bank, you know. So that might be something that you want to check out. But I'll be back soon. I'm gearing up. I'm planning on getting that Batman video done. And there's a couple others. I have like a stack of library books out there, and then a stack of books in this box that I own that I still want to go through and do some videos on. But I hope you liked the video. Hopefully you're a Wolverine and Predator fan. Otherwise, this might not be the video for you. But with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day.